Today is May 4th. I have not vlogged the last couple days, but I moved my desk today and it feels so much more creatively fresh in here. I had an urge to read, which I have not had in a long time. So now I'm trying to figure out what book I want to read next, which is a whole separate fun thing. But I applied to a couple more freelancing gigs because I'm trying to get 1 to 2 more clients right now for social media management, which is what I do to pay the bills while I'm trying to become a full-time author. And I just hand edited 3 pages for my fantasy novella while I was baking cookies, which is a lot of little wins today, and I'm very, very proud of that. I also find myself just really wanting to focus more on creating over consuming again, and I feel like today was the first day that I've successfully been able to feel like that's what I did in a while, and so it just felt really good. Today is May 5th. I just got back from writing group, and while I was at writing group, I finished my handwritten edits of the rough draft of my fantasy novella that I call Project Veil. And as of this moment, I'm feeling pretty good. I need to go through and type up my changes. I need to have beta readers read it. I was also coming up with a couple things after I'd finished that I want to go back in and add. So maybe that's I finish this round of revisions and I try to add everything that I can and then I send it out to beta readers. But that felt really freaking good. I'm very excited about that. I finished doing my hand edits on the printed out version of the rough draft. So basically, now what I'm going to be doing is entering into the second draft and typing up those edits that I made and also making the changes of the notes that I made for myself and trying to make it look like I knew what I was doing when I started writing the story, which I feel like it's already come such a far way, at least from where it stood in the first draft, because characters didn't have genders or names. I would be writing and I would come up with an idea and I would write it down and then I would leave myself a little parentheses section saying this feels important, figure it out later. And now I'm actually in the stage where I have to figure that stuff out, which I feel like I've had a lot of good ideas. I feel like I've found some ways to connect characters more. I've been coming up with backstory pieces for the characters and little flashbacks that I want to add throughout the story. And this vlog is going to be working on making draft 2 look a little bit more like how the story looks in my head. Yesterday at writing group, I made the huge step towards that goal of finishing edits on the document that I had printed out for my Project Veil, which is my fantasy novella. It's the palette cleanser that I wrote fall of 2024 after I'd finished draft 7 of my high fantasy book, or at least book 1 in that trilogy that I just needed a break from. And so then I wrote this fast-paced novella. I'm now working on editing it. I finished editing it yesterday by hand. This was the rough draft edits. So basically now I'm considering this to be draft 2. So like I said, and have said 3 times so far in the last minute, I finished my handwritten notes on this printed out document, which I'm not gonna show you, but you can see the pink edits and stuff. I was editing in pink and green pen and then realized that you could see pink a lot better. So I edited the rest of the printed out pages in pink. And now that I've done all of those changes on paper, now I need to actually type them up and make the changes that I left notes for myself on for bigger picture things. I'm trying to focus on the little wins. I'm trying to focus on what I can actively do day to day. I also think I need to switch to filming on the back camera, so we're gonna try that. Hopefully this isn't too abruptly different, but today I went for a run and I worked on typing in some of my edits, at least for the first 3 pages, possibly the first 2 pages. I think I just got to page 3 of my Project Veil, which means that I'm actually on my 3rd day in a row of working on Veil, which is awesome. Now that I have a little streak going, I want to see how many days in a row I can keep working on my creative projects. Steps are being taken, progress is being made. Good early afternoon, technically. Today is now May 7th. I wasn't going to start vlogging until later today, but I'm currently watching a video from Lynette Adkins, and it's called How to Stay Consistent Without Burning Yourself Out, and she's currently talking about how to reframe consistency as a form of self-love rather than something you have to do. And I will link this video down below because it's incredible so far. It's everything I needed to hear somebody else tell me, because it's stuff that I already know, but hearing somebody else say it is just the cherry on top. It's helpful. But I'm finishing up some work right now. It's about 1:30 and I'm hoping to get to a library or a coffee shop by 2 o'clock. I might be leaving here at 2 o'clock because I'm not quite done, to hopefully be somewhere out of my apartment for an hour and a half, 2 hours, so that I can do some writing. And when I say writing, I mean typing up my novella edits. And then I think I'm gonna go for a run or a hike with a friend of mine later today. But working on writing today is going to be day 4 of a writing streak, which is going to be awesome. Still filming with my back camera, so hopefully I'm in frame. But just trying to focus on consistency and the things that I can control, because every time I spin out and lose control of things, or at least feel like I'm losing control of things, that that's really just what I needed to do all along, was just remind myself of just the things that I can actually control. So going somewhere to spend some time writing is the perfect way to do that today. Okay, now we're back to my front camera because I just watched back the back camera footage. I need to figure that out. Maybe that's something that I only do when I'm like filming a sit down video or something, because holy cow, my arm was fully extended and hurt by the end of that clip, but it was like this, like the top of my head was cut off. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe it's because I can't see myself, but I'll get it figured out. It was really windy last night. My plants fell over, so I need to stand them up again and water them. My neighbor just went on their balcony, so this is gonna be awkward for me. But a couple days ago, I posted on my YouTube community tab that it had been like a month since my last YouTube upload. As of today, for me, I think I have 8 or 9 videos that have been filmed but not edited. But I basically said that I was feeling really creatively discouraged and that I hadn't forgotten about you guys. I was just like kind of going through it. And I got so many really nice messages from people just telling me to like take my time, not burn out, that people will still be there when I get back. And I just want to say that I really appreciate you guys. You don't know how much that means to me, but I'm starting to feel better and I really appreciate all of the support. And I'm really hoping that I can be consistent on YouTube again. But as of right now, I'm going to take my computer and we're going to go do some writing. Got back from the library. I was there for just about 2 hours. Honestly, the 2 hours like flew by. I told myself that I was gonna leave at 4 and then I ended up staying until like 4:15. So I think I was there and actually working on writing for an hour and 50 minutes. There's still an opportunity for me to do more later today, obviously, but it kind of feels good to have such a large chunk of writing done before like 5 o'clock. So now I'm gonna make dinner. I think I'm going hiking with one of my friends later today, which I'm very excited about. I have not been in the mountains for a little while now, which is silly because they're like literally right there, which you guys obviously can't see, but I'm staring at them as I'm talking to you guys. I decided that I want to do this draft 2 in 2 passes, basically. So the first step is typing up my notes. And when I went to the library, I kind of had a pipe dream of hitting page 15. And I think it's out of like 40 Microsoft Word document pages, but I got to page 15. I basically did 2.5 pages yesterday, so page 3-ish to page 15. I finished page 15 at the library today. And I feel like I've already made a lot of really good changes. I have also highlighted a lot of stuff in yellow, which is basically how I tell myself this sentence like has the gist, but it's not how I want it to sound. So I'm gonna need to go back in and like go through those and make changes like that. I've also left myself a lot of parentheses sections of things that I could add or ideas that I'm having that I could like add to the story. So I think that my first pass is literally just going to be typing in the notes, adding those highlighted sections, adding those parentheses sections, and then I'm going to either need to print it out again. I'm not totally sure I'm going to do that. I'll probably just look at it on my computer and go through and make some of those larger other changes in addition to rewording and rewriting some of those yellow highlighted sentences. But I'm now officially on day 4 of a writing streak and I'm feeling really good about it. Post-hike, eating chocolate chip cookies dripped in milk, and editing a YouTube video. It's now 1:30 in the morning, but the YouTube video is scheduled to go live tomorrow morning. I am stoked. It's my first upload in a month. And now I need to go to bed because I'm going hiking again tomorrow. So yesterday on Thursday, I did end up doing a little bit of editing before I went to bed. I think I did 2 pages of editing, which means that I'm now on I would have just finished at page 17. Again, out of like 40 something. I think it's like a clean 40, but I just did that before I went to bed because I was like, I don't want to break my writing streak. So now I'm on 5 days. Today is now Friday and I'm going to a coffee shop with one of my friends. We've been going back and forth about which coffee shop we should go to. Originally, the idea was that we were going to go sit out on a patio somewhere until I stepped out on onto my balcony and I was like, oh my gosh, it's hot. It's supposed to be like 82 degrees today, so that went out the window. And then we chose another coffee shop, but it closes at 3 p.m. and we want to be there for like at least 2.5 hours. And so it's just been a little bit of a back and forth, but I think we finally landed on one. So that's where I'm going to be heading in a couple minutes, is to the coffee shop to do some more editing. I have absolutely loved the last couple of days with how gorgeous the weather has been and the hiking that I've been able to do. There's still so much hiking season left and I'm so excited. But okay, now let's go to the coffee shop. I am bringing a jacket because we're going to be sitting inside and air conditioning in the summer is brutal, even though it's a ridiculously warm day outside. Just finished up at the coffee shop. I did indeed get 2 hours done. We were there for about 2.5, but I got 2 hours of strictly writing done, which honestly I feel really, really good about. I got through page 32, which means I did another 15 pages while I was sitting there, which was awesome. It also means that now I have less than 10 pages to the end. I've been making some of the changes, but mostly have just been typing up the changes that I made in that printed out version. So I will still need to go through and like implement some of the changes that I've left for myself, but overall, I feel like I'm moving really quickly. I like the idea of doing this in steps so that it feels like it's going by faster. Also, I'm getting a new car next week, so this might be one of the last videos in my current car, which is kind of sad. It's a little hard to say goodbye. It is now almost 1 in the morning, technically May 11th, but we're gonna say that today is May 10th still, because I have yet to go to bed, so that means that it's still the same day. I am acknowledging and knowledgeably not continuing my writing streak today. I hope to be back at writing tomorrow, but I had a pretty busy day, and then when I was not busy, I was just kind of feeling out of it until this evening when I decided to completely rework my resume and work on beta reading one of my friend's books. So I still count that as being like involved in the creative space, just not putting any effort towards my stories today, but that is okay. I feel like this week so far has gone really well. Tomorrow is Sunday. I'm playing D&D tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to do some writing, but even if I don't, then we're back at it with writing group on Monday. It is now once again Monday. I decided to not write yesterday, which was Sunday. I had a very busy day applying for some more jobs, playing D&D and some other stuff, which brings us to today, which is Monday, and that means that I'm on my way to writing group to hopefully finish typing up my notes for the last 8 pages. After I type those in, which I'm assuming I will be able to do while I'm at writing group tonight, then I will have to go in, I will get to go in and start working on implementing some of the larger story changes. Not even larger, but just like notes that I was leaving myself of coming up with, connections for the characters and what they're doing in the story that isn't part of like the main plot. I'll need to start going in and like adding some of those things, but I'm excited to finish typing up my notes this evening. Just got back from writing group. I was, in fact, able to finish typing up my handwritten notes. I only had 2 pages left, not 8. I don't know where I was coming up with the number 8, but only 2 pages, so that was pretty quick. The second to last page and the last page definitely had the most edits on them. They were very covered in pink ink. So now draft 2 is like super underway. I guess it has been for a while, but I did start a new document after I was done adding in those notes. And then I spent the rest of writing group going through my notes at the end of the document, because I have another several pages of just notes of things that I have completely forgotten about. Some of them aren't relevant anymore, and some of them I was going back in and adding as comments in like the right section. So even though I wasn't fixing it right then, I will now know roughly where those things need to go in as I'm doing my next pass. So that's where Project Veil is currently sitting. So this is how much pink is on the last page. If I stand back here, maybe you guys can see it without actually seeing it. Almost every single line had a change. Good afternoon, happy Tuesday. I'm feeling very cute today. This dark green looks really good with the dragon necklace that I gave myself after I finished draft 6 of Project DE. It's now 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I am heading out to go do some writing outside of my apartment, and then I'm hoping to come back and film a video. I still have a backlog of probably like 6 videos, maybe 7 before you guys see this one, and I'm trying to lean into that backlog as much as I possibly can. videos that I've basically filmed over the last like 2 or 3 months that I just have not edited. So now that I've started implementing the changes in Project Veil, I like don't really want to work on it, which is exactly why I'm going today to work on it. And I know that as soon as I am there, or at the very least after I leave, I will feel very accomplished that I chose to sit down and work on it. So let's go to the library. I ended up working on Project Veil for an hour at the library, and then I came back and got that video filmed. I just watched author Jenna Streety's video where she wants to change her life in 6 months and like her plans to get there and what she wants to accomplish in the next 6 months. She wants to rapid release like 3 full novels or novellas, and my whole goal is to release a single novella. I'm gonna link her video down in the description box below if you wanna go watch that. I am fired up after watching that. I don't know what it was. I don't know if there was something about like just social media in the last couple of years where we all wish that we could have spent that time differently, or if we're just constantly comparing ourselves to other people on social media and seeing what other people are accomplishing. But it very much feels like I'm not alone in the boat of like, it's time to get things done. Like, I need to start publishing. I need to start getting myself out there way more than I have been up until this point. I've been playing it a little bit too safe. I finished typing up my handwritten notes that I made on a printed out version of draft 1. But as I was typing those in, I was still having like story things that I wanted to change on top of just reading through and editing it a little bit. So now I get to go in and implement those changes. So I'm about to head to the library to get started on that part of draft 2. Okay, hi. It's now June 1st. I kind of knew that I wasn't going to be writing for the last like couple weeks. So where I stand right now, I think I'm on page 8. Oh, my monstera is starting to like develop some of the leaves. Hang on, look at this. Look at that. It's trying so hard. Cute. I say that. My plants on my balcony are dying, but at least the ones inside are happy. That's so much fun. I just noticed that. Oh, I'm so proud of it. I really thought it wasn't going to develop any of those leaves. Okay, back to what I was saying. May 19th, I left for Las Vegas for a work trip, but that takes up like a solid 4 days of talking to people for like 9.5 hours a day. And then I came back. I had to take like a full evening to say goodbye to my last car because I had had her for 10 years. And I took her for a drive up the canyon just because like she has moved with me twice across the country from Minnesota to Texas and then from Texas to Utah. She went to both colleges with me. She took me to my first national park, my first hikes out in Utah, and then I made the switch. And then I went for like an 8-mile long hike. We were gonna try and do closer to 14, but we hit snowpack and we're post-holing, so where your feet like sink into the snow, and I wasn't feeling super comfortable with it. So we decided to turn around, but after doing part of that hike makes me want to do more of that hike when the snow is gone. And then immediately the next day after doing that hike, we turned around and left for a trip to Colorado to go see the Lord Huron concert at Red Rocks. And that might be my new favorite concert that I've ever been to. The venue was so incredibly cool. On the way there, because it's like an 8-hour drive from Salt Lake City to Denver, we did stop for a night at this really cute campsite. We stayed in like a tiny wooden cabin and then continued on to Denver where we stayed in a really cute A-frame. The weather was not great. It was super rainy while we were there, but it cleared up just in time for the Lord Huron concert at Red Rocks, which might be my new favorite concert that I've ever been to. Red Rocks is something that I've wanted to go do since I moved to Utah.
Where the air smells like pine needles, a hankering you can't put down, and unfinished business. Strange trails are about to unfurl before you. Yes, I know that love is like ghosts. Oh, few have seen it, but everybody talks.
And then 2 days ago, we drove the 8 hours, but with stops, it was like 9.5 hours back from Denver to Salt Lake City. And now it's June 1st. I was very aware that I was not going to be able to work on writing during this time. I did stay up with all of my freelancing, but I wanted to enjoy the trips, but also not add any stress to my plate, just because that's a lot of things to be doing. But now it's June 1st. I did wake up feeling incredibly motivated today, which I don't really know if I'll have a ton of time to work on writing. It's now 12:47. I just finished up my freelancing. I do work a little bit on the weekends. Today's a Sunday. I might be hanging out with a friend this afternoon, and then I have D&D this evening, so I'm not super sure I'm going to be able to work on editing my novella, but I do need to get that finished up soon because that needs to get off to beta readers or some kind of developmental editor, which I should probably figure out, but I will figure that out after I'm done editing. And even though it's almost 1 o'clock, my friend has not texted me about hanging out this afternoon, even though we talked about it yesterday, and I almost don't want to text them just because I'm feeling so good about writing, but I also don't want to bail. So I need to figure that out. Okay, it is now 12:30 in the morning on June 1st. I did end up having social plans this afternoon, and then I went and played D&D. Had a really great session. It was a lot of fun, felt very in tune with my character. I ended up doing about 15 minutes of editing my novella this evening, and I am honestly stopping that because I really want to read. And I'm trying to lean into that as much as I possibly can. So I am still deciding between whether or not I want to start reading a new book or if I want to pick up a book that I'm in the middle of. I have like a cute, easy romance book that I might start reading. Easy meaning like 350 pages instead of like a 900-page fantasy. Tomorrow is writing group, and I haven't been to writing group in like 2 or 3 weeks because I've been out of town. But writing group is always a solid 2 hours of working on my projects, so I know that that's going to be really, really good tomorrow. Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. Today is June 2nd. It's almost 4 o'clock. I have writing group tonight, so I know that I'm going to do my 2 hours of writing later today. But before I go to my writing group, I am still beta reading for one of my friends. And we're carpooling tonight, so I wanted to finish beta reading for her in case she wants to talk through what she's working on like while we're driving. So I'm planning on doing that while I'm kind of making dinner before writing group this evening. I've just been working and like running errands so far today. Still feeling very productive, still very much wanting to get back on top of my writing, and I know that this vlog is getting very, very long, so I will probably not get through, well, I know that I'm not going to get through draft 2 in this video, so I'll probably wrap up the video after writing group tonight. We'll see how far I can get, hoping for like at least page 10 out of like, I think it's like 45 pages, and then hopefully the next vlog that you guys see from me will be finishing up draft 2, we hope. Well, last night at writing group, I ended up only working on about 2.5 pages in the full 2 hours that I was actually like actively working on writing. I think it was like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I got 2.5 pages done. It felt a lot like I was trudging through mud, and even though I know that I was making progress, it didn't feel like fast progress at all. It very much felt like I was fighting with sentences. I was fighting with like organization of sentences and trying to make everything make sense, because obviously when I was writing by hand, I was just like adding stuff in where I thought that stuff needed to be added and removing other stuff. And then now I'm realizing that I probably shouldn't have necessarily done it in that order. And so now I'm trying to like reorganize my sentences, as well as rewriting sentences and adding new things that I was leaving myself notes for when I was editing by hand. So like I said, very much like trudging through mud, but I got 2.5 pages done. I almost got to the end of page 10, but like my last note to myself that I had on page 10 was something about like, you know, figured this out. And I was like, okay, it's 9:15. I'm not doing this right now. And then I closed my computer and went home. So that is where we are closing out this video. The next video is going to pick up exactly from where I'm sitting right now. So if you have not already, make sure you subscribe and keep an eye out for the next vlog. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like if you have not already, because it really helps my channel. It tells the YouTube algorithm that you liked my video and that somebody else might too. And I will see you guys in the next video for some more freaking editing. Bye.